Hey guys, so for those of you that are feeling either lonely today or feeling like a fraud, um, know that I get you. That's where I'm at in life right now, and so I know how hard it is, how much pressure um, is felt, the maintenance that comes with trying to perfect this image so that people don't see the real you. Um, I get it. It's hard and it's exhausting and debilitating it's not a fun place to be in. Um, from my experience, I've always felt like I've had to live up to this image that I've kind of created myself to be in, um, simply because I've always grown up in a Christian household with amazing parents and with younger brothers and sisters, um, and so like for me as the oldest, like I've felt this kind of this pressure to be the best older brother I can be and to like not make a mistake, or my parents would be disappointed in me and I wouldn't be a good example to my siblings. And in my church I felt like I had to be this really good leader, and so I tried to do everything well. I tried to be the best person that I could be, and not show the hard parts of life, not show the mistakes that I've made. And it's crazy because I got all of these this admiration, if you will, and these accolades of being just a great person and people they saw as a leader and a good example. And so because I didn't have a strong self-esteem and haven't had one for a while, that I liked that admiration, and that's always what I had been seeking. And so when I got that approval from others by doing those things, I felt, okay, if I would just continue to do that, continue to show the good parts about me, the things that I want to be, and not show the failures and not show the places in which I mess up and the ways that I don't have it all together, then like I can be happy in life, and that's what really matters. And so all throughout middle school, high school, and even into college, that I perfected this image, and I made sure people only saw the good parts about me. I made sure that I was always happy on social media, and I was always sharing good Christianese things on Facebook, so that people never thought that I was making mistakes, and that I had questions and doubts and all of these things. And I began to realize that it really was not as fulfilling as I thought it would be. The sense of approval that I got from people wasn't really fulfilling my desire and need for that approval, and it slowly but surely began to frustrate me, because I thought, okay, like if this isn't working, I just need to do more, and I need to do more, and perfect it even more. And so I built up even stronger walls and a greater mask, and just all of these things that I thought would help me, and a lot of that was out of a fear mentality, where I was like, if someone were to see me as I really am, as a guy that doesn't have it all together, as a guy that makes millions of mistakes, someone that is learning and growing and doesn't know everything, like then they wouldn't like me, and I wouldn't be known as a good person, as a good Christian, as a good leader and a good brother and a good son, and all of these ways that I identified myself. It's how I created my identity, and it just never worked. It was kind of like I was shared in having this really low self-esteem. So if I felt like if I could just change something about me, then people would like me, and if that's all they saw in me was my my flaws or whatever, that there's no way that they'd approve of me or consider me as a friend. And I can think back to middle school and high school, where I was like, if I could just be like that popular kid that has all these friends and that seems to be enjoying life, and like, man, like that's the life that I want to live. And I'm just getting to a point in my life as a 20-year-old guy that makes millions of mistakes a day, that like it's not worth it. This identity that I've created for myself isn't really who I am, and I just got exhausted from trying to maintain this image. And slowly but surely, as I've grown in my my relationship with Jesus, I've realized that like this whole identity that I have is it's just not the way it's supposed to be, and that He's created me uniquely, not to be like anybody else, to be who He created me to be, because He has a purpose for my life, and I shouldn't be so consumed by the approval of others, because if I'm concerned about that more than Him per se, then I'm not getting it. I'm not understanding the true purpose of my life, and so I've been learning lately to let go of that identity, and to not like really care what people think, and if they approve of me or not, and if they think highly of me, and if they think I'm a good leader and a good brother and all this. The reality is that I do not have it together, and I mean, like, I just mess up all the time, and that doesn't mean that like I should identify myself as that, but that means that like I'm just a great example of like who God can use to show who He is. And so I just want to encourage you today that if you feel like you're a fraud, or if nobody seems to get who you really are, and you just want to live into who you really are, you want to take this mask off, I just want to encourage you to take the risk and do it. Like there, there's pieces in Scripture that talks about like God doesn't give us a spirit of fear, but a mind, a sound mind, and a power of love, and because He loves you so much, and because He's created you so uniquely, like He wants you to live into that, and so if you're willing to take that risk and just give this identity of who you think you need to be away, and give it to Him, and let Him shape you into who He wants you to be, man, like all that pressure, all that frustration, all that exhaustion, man, it just goes away, because you can become confident in who God has created you to be, and begin to see this purpose that He has for your life, and how He wants to use you in a way that gives you that joy and that approval that you've been seeking. Because at the end of the day, like, there's nobody, there's no social media post, there's nothing that's going to be able to give you the approval that you really desire. It's never going to be able to fulfill you. It's Jesus that's the only one that's ever going to be able to satisfy you. And so yeah, man, that's my encouragement to you if you feel like you just are just tired of living that way. And for those of you that are feeling lonely, and that could be, maybe you're in both parts, where you're lonely because you don't feel like anybody gets you, or maybe you just feel lonely because you don't feel like anybody cares for you. Man, I just want you to know that I care for you, and the reason I care for you is because Jesus cares for you. Man, He loves you so much more than you could ever understand. And you may not agree with this, but in that place of loneliness, in that place of solitude and hurt, He's right there with you, and He wants to use this opportunity to show you who He is and how much He cares for you. He's right there with you, and so man, just begin to seek Him, and ask Him that He would show up, because He really will. Whether you think He will or not, whether He hasn't shown Himself to be there in the past, like what would it look like to take a risk and see if He really would show up to be who He says He is. And the worst that could happen is nothing. So why not take that risk? But I'll tell you, if you take that risk, you'll be rewarded, because you'll find the God of the universe that loves you more than anything, and He will satisfy all of your desires, because He is the one that fulfills us, man. So that's what I've got. I obviously still don't have it all together, and I never will, but by Jesus' grace and His love for me, I can be who He's created me to be, and I just hope that you can find that for yourself. So know that you're loved, and go walk and be who you are and who God's created you to be.